Welcome on into the Broncos Breakdown Mailbag Edition. I'm answering questions that came in during our live show, which airs every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. So if you want to be a part of the next live show to ask your question, tune in Tuesdays, 3 p.m., and we'll throw your question on screen. Our first question comes in via Super Chat from Michael. I would trade for wide receiver Cooper Kupp over Myles Garrett if I were the Broncos. Go Broncos. Michael, I agree. I think there is a lot to like about trading for Myles Garrett if you're any team. He is the best pass rusher in football. You are getting the best guy at the second most position in football. It's hard to say trading for Myles Garrett would be a bad idea for any team out there. But when you are talking about the team that just led the league in sacks, maybe the priority should be on offense and not so much on defense. So, Michael, I'm in the same boat. I would pursue Kupp, although I don't think you really have to trade for Kupp because my gut tells me the Rams are going to end up releasing him, and you can just wait until March to sign him and not lose any draft picks. Cody W. Need a wide receiver, tight end, running back in the draft, safety, middle linebacker, maybe tight end in free agency. This does serve as a good reminder that while we get so obsessed with mock drafts and people coming at each other's throats over how could you pick that position over that position, by the time free agency is over, we'll have a much clearer picture as to what Denver's needs are. What if in free agency they make a big splash move for a tight end or a running back? Well, they're probably not going to do that with their 20th overall pick. So don't get too obsessed with the position of need for the draft. I'd spend more time learning about the players and be well-versed at all the players, or if you don't want to be well-versed, I'll teach you what to be well-versed in, of the positions of need, because you might discover when the draft gets here, tight end, cross it off the list, they signed 2 guys in free agency. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head. Miller time. What are your thoughts on tight end Gunnar Helm, that's the Texas tight end, and wide receiver Savion Williams? I feel both would be great with Sean Payton. Savion Williams, that's the TCU wide receiver, right? I'm going to double check. Yes, okay. I didn't want to put my foot in my mouth here. So, Gunnar Helm and Savion Williams. Williams and there's the other TCU receiver who I'm blanking out right now. Both of them I thought had their stock kind of rise a little bit since the season ended. These are 2 guys that I think could have a lot of, I don't want to say versatility because it's such a buzzword, but versatility more or less. And when you look at Sean Payton's background in New Orleans, he loves tight ends that can do a lot of different things for him. So Gunnar Helm, I think, could be a good fit in that role. Miller time, these are 2 good prospects to watch for. I think closer to rounds 4 and 5 of the draft. How you doing? We got Joey Tribbiani here. Any chance Denver trades for Travis Etienne? Okay, let's talk about the Jags running back then, shall we? Because it's not a very good free agent class at the running back position. Last year, you had Barkley, you had Josh Jacobs, you had all these guys get paid a lot of money. This year, the best running back is probably Aaron Jones. He's 30 years old. I don't think Denver wants to make a long-term investment in him. Whereas Travis Etienne, he is going into year 4 of his career. The Jags or any team that trades for him potentially has to make a decision on his 5th-year option. And we'll look at his stats, and unfortunately, it was not a 2024 to remember, but that was the case for everyone in Jacksonville. But yeah, he had a down year. I mean, I'm not going to try and, play it up than that. He pretty much lost his starting job to Tank Bigsby, who towards the end of the year looked like the better back on that team. I'm still open to trying to recapture what you saw out of him in 2022 and 2023. No, actually, he is not. This is going to 5th-year option. I forgot I missed all of 2021 with that injury before the season started. So forget the 5th-year option part. That's already out of the question here. But getting back to Travis Etienne as a player here. For the right price, yeah, why not? Right? You're moving on from Javonte Williams. I think you were hoping to see a little bit more from highlight reel Jaleel, which was a bummer because I had high expectations for him this past season and didn't quite live up to what I was hoping to see out of him. I'm not willing to make a conclusion on Audric Estime after just 1 year as a rookie, but I think a running back room of Estime, Etienne, and a new rookie could be a pretty good trio for Bo Nix. So I'll turn it over to you now. Be the host. would you trade for Travis Etienne? Scroll on down. Give me your response in the comment section. Moving on to our next question. Michael, what do you think is the biggest need in free agency? Great question, Michael. Biggest need in free agency, I'm going to look through the lens of what does this free agent class have to offer that the Broncos could be interested in. It's not a very good free agent class at running back. Broncos are interested in that. Not a very good free agent class at tight end. Broncos need some help there. I'm thinking middle linebacker. Whether it's re-signing Cody Barton, whether it is bringing a different linebacker in. I think linebacker could be a position that Denver targets in free agency, whether it's keeping their own guys, like I said, or finding someone external. Safety could be one to watch for. PJ Locke did not look like a starting safety this past season. You're pretty good on the offensive line. I like the receivers, and I know people are going to be banging the drum for T. Higgins or Chris Godwin. My guess is those guys are going to get very big contracts because it's not a very good wide receiver draft class. And thus, they'll be overpaid on top of already being overpaid because most free agent signings are overpaid. That's the nature of the biz. You get underpaid on your rookie deal, and then you make up for it on your next contract as long as you played well in your rookie contract. So I would pause the idea of making T. Higgins the 5th highest paid receiver by the Denver Broncos. I like what you have in Marvin Mims and Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin, Devon Vele. So I'd say linebacker and safety, Michael. Folksy Prince, 410. If you could pick any player for the Broncos to trade for who? If you could pick any player for the Broncos to trade for, who is it? Okay. Ooh, great question. If I'm picking, within some level of realism, because I would love for them to trade for like a tight end probably. Running back, I'd rather go get a younger running back or one in free agency rather than give up a draft pick for one and then give him a new big contract as well. So tight end, Kyle Pitts could be a realistic option to go after. Former 4th overall pick. It didn't work in Atlanta. I think the Falcons are going to be moving on from him. Pitts is that sweet spot of position of need and some level of realism, right? I'm not going to go overboard and just be like, why don't they go get Josh Allen? You know what I mean? So Kyle Pitts, I think, would be my answer for this question. Folksy Prince, I'm sure there's some other names out there that people are going to roast me for in the comment section, but right now I'm just kind of drawing a blank on anyone else that's semi-available at a position of need for Denver. We're going to talk more about the questions you guys have in just a moment, but first, Gametime. Gametime has an awesome feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you do not have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I really like about Gametime is their all-in pricing option. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, they offer the Gametime guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Getting back to our mailbag. Next question coming up in just a second here from, drumroll please. It's from Joe. What's going on, Joe? Trade out of first round for picks. No. I do not want to see the Broncos trade out of the 20th overall pick. At least not like pre-draft. The Texans did that last year with the Vikings. I think it's worth sitting at 20 and waiting to see if you can get one of 4 guys that I like a lot for Denver. Tyler Warren, Ashton Genty, Colston Loveland, and Walter Nolan. I blanked on my own 4th guy. If those 4 guys are gone from 20, then we can discuss trade options at that point if someone wants to give you a good amount of picks to move up in the draft. But pre-draft, I think those are 4 guys worth sitting and waiting for to see if they are there. Demented Tree. Is this what's so funny? Okay. 3 firsts for Travis Kelce to make Taylor suffer. Think there's a chance Travis Kelce plays his last game on Sunday? I mean, if they win, I don't know how much more he has to not just prove. He has nothing to prove anymore, but, go out there and play for. He might feel like he still have some gas left in the tank, but it didn't look like that this past regular season. So maybe he wins, he proposes to Taylor, and he rides off into the sunset. I don't think Travis Kelce is going to play for any other team in his NFL career. Cody W. Wouldn't mind looking at Juwan Johnson, that's the Saints tight end. I'm really liking Oriante Gadsden from Syracuse in the draft. I got to learn more about Gadsden because I'm still going through my prospects. I'm kind of like at guys who are rounds 1 to 2.5. I haven't gotten enough day 3 guys just yet, so bear with me, Cody. As for Juwan Johnson, that's a good tight end target for Denver because they definitely need one with the lack of production they got from their unit as a whole last year, and he's got the familiarities to Sean Payton. Do not rule out Juwan Johnson being one of the first free agent signings by the Broncos in March. Aiden, what do you think is a realistic year that the Broncos could make the Super Bowl and when they could win it? Aiden, fun question. Let's say the level of realism, 2025 is a win a playoff game type of accomplishment season. I think Josh Allen had the similar path, right? Where he did not win a playoff game the first time he went to the playoffs, but the second time. So someone can fact check me. Let's say 2025 is wild card team, win a playoff game. You're the 5 or you're the 6 seed, and you knock off someone on the road, and then unfortunately lose in the divisional round. 2026, year 3 of Bo Nix. That I don't think has to be, but on a level of optimism, that could be a AFC Championship appearance game. Just keep working your way up the ladder a little bit. But let's not settle there, because I feel like usually when you get a little bit of success, the very next year, you go way further than expected. Take like Jalen Hurts, for example. They were the 7 seed under Nick Sirianni their first year, lost to the Buccaneers, Brady and the Bucs, and everyone's like, oh, cute run for the Eagles to close out the season, ended 9-8. The very next year, they are in the Super Bowl. So, or 2 years later? No, the very next year. Yeah. Second year under Sirianni. They're in the Super Bowl and lose to the Chiefs. So, I'll say 2025 is win a playoff game. 2026, realistically, I think they could make the Super Bowl in 2 years. And then winning, I don't know. Sometime, look at Josh Allen. Look how long he's gone without winning one. Look at Joe Burrow. They're better than Bo Nix right now. So I'm not going to say realistically they win one in 4 years because I told Bills fans in 2019, you guys will win one in the next 4 years. That sounds like a pretty good bet. Hasn't happened. Shane Gonzalez. Matt, I want to know your thoughts on getting Omarion Hampton in the first or second round if Genty isn't there. My preferred, my personal running back rankings, Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. That's the name that I like the most out of all the second tier of backs. If tier 1 is Genty by himself, for me it goes Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. But the UNC running back Hampton, he was very productive this past season for the Tar Heels, one of the leading rushers in the country, top 5 if I remember correctly, and he's got a good amount of bruising to him, so I like the violence and the physicality he runs with. I don't think it's a bad option. It's not my preferred option. I would say Caleb Johnson for anyone looking for a back in round 2. Harrison Wiley, what do you think of Ty Robinson in round 4? This is the Nebraska guy, right? The defensive lineman from Lincoln, I think so. I'm going to do a little fact checking myself. Yeah, okay. What do I think of Ty Robinson? I don't have enough research on him myself to give you an informed and accurate opinion. So, Harrison, I'm sorry to let you down. I'll have a better answer for you as we get closer to probably coming out of the combine. That's when I'm going to really be at my peak of having a good grasp of all the prospects from like rounds 1 to 4 to 5-ish. And I'm not going to BS you guys. I won't know everything there is to know about guys who go in round 6 and 7. Okay, Harrison, come back to me on this question, and I promise I'll give you a better answer in the future. That's going to do it for us on today's mailbag. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed our free content, all I ask is you like and subscribe, and we will get you guys more content over the next couple of days.